Hey guys, hi. It is Monday, October 16th. We're going to get this show going, okay? I worship you. I worship you.
You are here, working in this place.
I worship you. I worship you.
You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper,
Light in the darkness,
my God.
that is who you are.
Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper,
Light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are.
you are here, touching every heart.
I worship you. I worship you.
You are here, it's turning lives around. I worship you.
I worship you.
Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God,
That is who you are.
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 Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I can't feel it, you're working. You never stop. You never stop working. You never stop. You never stop working.
Even when I can't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop. You never stop working. You never stop.
You never stop working.
Even when I can't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop. You never stop working. You never stop.
You never stop working. Miracle, light in the darkness. That is who you are. Miracle worker, my God, that is who you are. That is who you are. Thank you, Jesus. Oh, that is who you are.
Do you know what lard is actually made of?
Hey guys, how's everyone doing? It is Monday, October 16th. We're getting there, we're getting there. Not like we're trying to go nowhere, but we're getting there. Whether we want to go or not. We getting there. Talking about those colder days. The W word. I don't want to say it. Right now it's fall. I could do fall. I prefer summer, but I can do fall. But that W word, Lord help us. You know, I've been in the United States my whole life, right? I never get used to winter. Um, you would think that because I've been here my whole life that eventually I would get used to the colder months, right? No. I'm gonna tell you, even as a child, right? Most kids love the W season. I'm just gonna say the W word. I'm not calling it into existence. I know that I can't stop it from coming, but I refuse to say that word. It's too soon for that. But even as a little girl, in the W months, you know how children like to go out in the snow and play in the snow? Never liked it. The only thing I could tell you I liked about Christmas, I mean, sorry guys, not Christmas. Well, it's less than 2 months away, so you guys, October, yeah, almost 2 months away. But we're not talking about that right now. When I was a kid, right? I don't know if anybody remembers the blizzard of 70, was it the blizzard of 78? That was the only thing I liked about winter. I said the word. Can't avoid it. But the blizzard of 78, I was a little girl. I was probably like 9, 10 years old, right? There was so much snow. We've had blizzards since then, right? But I don't think they can compare to the blizzard of 78. There was so much snow, right? We, as kids, literally carved out tunnels and igloos. That's how much snow it was. I'm talking carving out a open space underneath the snow so big that you could go inside and sit down and probably have a little fireplace in there. That type of igloo. That was a lot of snow. That was the only part that I've ever liked about the W months, right? I remember, you guys, this is a funny story. So during that time, right? I don't know what my mother was thinking, right? I guess, I mean, I can remember when I was a little girl seeing my mother watch the news, but I don't know, for whatever reason, she must not have watched it that day, or maybe the news didn't announce that this event was going to take place. I don't know, but I remember getting up and getting ready for school, and Mom sending me and my sister out of the house at the time to go to the bus stop, which was like down, all the way down our street where we lived. It was a long street. We had to walk all the way down that street to the corner, and like 1 block around the corner, that's where the bus would pick us up at. And my sister and I, we walked through all that snow all the way to the bus stop that day, right? And we get there, and there's no kids at the bus stop, right? So we just assumed we missed the bus. So we started walking back home. I couldn't even make it. I couldn't even make it back home. I remember my feet being so cold, right? And I don't like cold, that my feet hurt. It was that bad. And I started crying. And I told my sister, like, I can't do it. I can't make it. My sister and I had to go into a hallway so that I can get warmed up. And my sister was like, oh, you know, I can leave and come back for you. And I was like, no, don't leave and come back for me. And we stood in that hallway so long because I dreaded going back out there. I dreaded going back out there. Like, I was literally crying. My feet hurt so bad. They were so cold, right? So eventually, of course, we had to come out that hallway because we was in somebody else's hallway, right? And we walked all the way back home, right? Just to find out school was canceled. Why did my mother not know that? Why would she send me and my sister out there in all that snow, right? All that snow. But anyway, school was canceled, and then we were out of school for a minute during that time. Because I remember like going outside to play, and that snow, like I said, I used to walk, like, used to be able to climb on top of the snow and stand on top like a freaking mountain, right? And then we carved out snow and made tunnels and little igloos. Yo, if you was a little kid during the blizzard of 78, I was bomb. I was bomb. But I also remember, for whatever reason, I think we lost power. So we had no heat. We had no lights. And Mom, I don't know how. We had a gas stove, right? Is it that we just lost lights? But Mom put the oven on, right? And opened the oven door to keep us warm. And we had to drag our mattresses into the kitchen. And Mom and my siblings, we slept in the kitchen on mattresses on the floor in front of the stove that kept us warm. That was a crazy time. It was a crazy time. But other than that, yeah, I didn't like winter. I remember another time as a little girl, it was snow out, and we had what is called the building maintenance people. They were like young men, right? And they would come to work and they would have a snowball fight, right? And here I come walking out the building one day and got smacked dead in my face with a snowball by one of those young men who were in the middle of a snowball fight between them, right? I'm a little girl. I'm like 9 years old. This is a grown man, probably in his like 20s. And when that grown man made that ice snowball and threw it at his friend, and I got smacked in the face with it at 9 years old, it hurt like a mother. I was stunned because, like I said, I had just walked out of the building and didn't know that I was going to be walking into that. So it surprised me. It caught me off guard. All I can remember was the feeling in my face that was like on fire at the time, to the point it stunned me. It shocked me. Yeah. I didn't like winter. I did not like it, not even as a little kid. I did not like winter. I don't know if I mind so much the snow, it's just the cold. Like, if it could be snow and still warm, I would be okay with it. But the cold that comes with the snow, I've never been a fan of cold, ever. Not even as a little kid, ever was I a fan of cold. So anyway, guys, how was you guys' weekend? Everybody had a good weekend? I hope. And if not, that's okay. If you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome. If you are coming back to see me again, welcome. And I want to thank each and every one of you guys for stopping in on me, hearing what I have to say, letting me guide you on your journey from mental health awareness to mental health wellness tied to education. I'm so happy that we are able to do this, that this is a resource that is available to us to be able to come together from the safety of our own homes or from wherever we may be out there in the world. You know, you jump on YouTube, you get some encouragement, you get some information regarding your mental health illness. You have a community who supports one another with mental health diseases. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's truly an honor to be here in this space with you guys. So anyway, guys, like I said, it is Monday, October 16th, and the song that I played for you guys today is Michael W. Smith, Waymaker. And because of where I'm going to go today, I felt like that was an appropriate song. But in all honesty, you guys, I was not prepared. I had to grab something out the air like quick because I almost didn't make it here today. I almost didn't make it here today. Um, and it has nothing to do with my signs or symptoms. Like, being that I do have depression, right? Yes, sometimes I can feel a little down. I can feel a little sad, right? But I still show up. I don't care. I mean, I would have to be like somewhere out and about or at a meeting or at work. I mean, it would have to be something for me to not show up. I'm home. There's no reason for me not to show up. Yes, I'm in my little go-to blanket, my little comfy blanket. So a friend of mine, a coworker, had given me this years ago, right, as a Christmas gift, and I absolutely love it. Um, it's like my daughter says it's dirty, but sometimes if you wear black, black can rub up against the white. You guys know how white is. White is not going to stay white. But it's still, oh my God, you know, I can wrap it around me. It's long. It's got little holes. I can stick my arms through it to still like do things around my house. Again, the colder weather's coming and I haven't turned my house heat on yet. And I'm not going to. If you got to pay a gas bill, right? We are not doing that. Um, so yeah, I try not to, soon as I feel cold, jump up and turn my heat on. I live alone. Um, if my grandson was here, then yes, the heat will go on because grandma's got to keep her baby warm. But if I'm here by myself, yeah, we're not doing that. Put a blanket on, throw some extra layers on. I'm not turning that gas heat on until it is absolutely necessary. I do have a little fireplace, and I want to say a couple of days ago I did turn my fireplace on, and that did the trick. I had to turn that fireplace off. It was too much heat. Yeah, it was a little chilly. I put my fireplace on probably for like an hour, and then I turned it off. It was good. I am drinking coffee, and yes, this is my third cup today, guys. I really needed the coffee today because, like I said, I do have depression, and I do have signs and symptoms of my mental health illness, and sometimes I feel a little sad, a little down, but it's not like, I guess with age and with experience of dealing with this over the years, whereas I didn't have as much control over my symptoms as I do now. So yes, I am going through some stuff right now, which, when you have depression, it's kind of hard to say, like, I don't know it all, right? I mean, I know a lot, but I don't know it all. And I don't know. I'm in this weird place right now. As you guys know, probably like 2 weeks ago, I had got terminated from my job after 5 years, right? And I'm going to be honest, like, during the last days at my job, probably for the last few weeks, like, I was really stressed out. I love my job. I love what I do. I love the people that I took care of. I love my coworkers. I built some really good relationships there, but it was getting to me, as far as my mental health. Like, it was getting more stressful. It was getting tough. And I'm the type of person, right? I don't quit. I don't quit. I think once I was at one job, and after 2 years of being at that job, yes, I got tired, I got stressed, and I looked for another job, and I got another job, and I left that job to move to my next job. I probably should have done that this time with this job when the last few weeks I was going through at this job, just stressed, just really stressed out about, a lot of things that come with just working at a job, right? You work with multiple people and multiple different personalities, and sometimes the pressure of the job, you're doing the best you can. It's never good enough. You push yourself. It got really difficult, and it started to weigh on me. And but I still didn't see it coming when they decided to terminate me, right? So, I guess I kind of had mixed feelings about losing the position. Like, on one hand, I was like, yes, because I was so tired and just so stressed out. And then it's like, okay, I mean, you are going to feel some type of way after you've been at the same position for 5 years, and you've built relationships, and you have this routine, and you have this steadiness of income and lifestyle that comes with it. So I don't know. It was like a bunch of mixed feelings around it, right? And I told you guys, like, sometimes when something happens, even if it's for the best, you're still going to go through feelings behind it. And I told you guys that for the first week, right, it was probably going to take me a week just to process it all, to get in touch with my feelings about it, give my brain time to like process it all, my feelings tied to it. Like, it was a lot going on inside of me, and I needed like a week or two just to process it all, right? Which I've done. And then like just getting used to a new schedule, losing that place of employment after 5 years was tied to my schedule, like my sleeping habits, my eating habits, so much. And I needed time to let my body adjust to, the change in patterns of, as far as sleeping patterns, eating patterns, and, staying busy. Like, with losing the job after 5 years, I had to apply for unemployment, which I did that like the same day when they terminated me. I had filed a claim. And so now I have to wait for them to like do adjudication or whatever. So I've been staying busy, like, doing this show here, my sessions on YouTube, advocating for mental health awareness, mental health wellness tied to education. And by doing that show, like, there's a lot of research that I've been doing. I took a course online in regards to, which that's where we're going to go today, guys. I'm going to walk you guys through some stuff that I did online. I took a course about how to be there when it comes to supporting someone with a mental health illness, right? Because even though I am in my 50s and I have a lot of experience with not just my own mental health illness, but being there for mom and for my sister through their journey with their mental health illnesses, walking beside them, supporting them, caring for them, teaching them, guiding them. So yeah, I have a lot of experience, but I still like to, read up on it, as far as the scientists, the providers, the researchers, the textbook stuff. Because sometimes we can't just go off of what we think we know, right? You want to get as much information about whatever you're dealing with, right? And yes, I'm all over the place, guys. I'm tired today. So anyway, when I lost my position, for the past 2 weeks, I've been processing stuff and adjusting to things, and I've been like getting my house in order, like, making good use of my time besides applying for my unemployment, um, doing research and studies and taking courses online for mental health illnesses, um, getting my house in order. Like, even though, like, when we work, right, we come home and we do the basics, right, to keep up with the house, right? But there's a lot of things that we don't get to do because when you work, right, when you get home at the end of the day, it takes time to like decompress from your day, and then you got to jump into your home routine, if as far as like shopping, cooking, cleaning, running errands, paying bills. Like, it's still a lot, right? So there's a lot of things that we don't really get to do when we're working, because even on the weekends you think you have time, but if you have family members, right, the weekends, my grandson comes, during the summer months, I would take him out either to a beach or a friend's pool party. Little kids, you got to keep them busy, you got to keep them active, right? My daughter, we ended up taking a trip to New York for the weekend together. It's a lot. It's a lot. Life is just a lot. I can just keep going on and on, but we're not going to go there. What I'm trying to get to is that, since I don't have to get up at 5 a.m. To get to work every day, right? Like, I've been doing all the stuff in my house that has been, I mean, it's nothing major, but I guess it is to me. So anyway, I don't know why, like, every time you get a job, right? Anytime you start a new job, and I've only had 2 in the past 7 years. The first one I was at for 2 years, the last one I was at for 5 years. But it's like when you get a new job, right? You have to go through orientation, right? And they give you so much paperwork. So they give you, there's like the employee handbook, there's like the employee orientation packet. At my job or my past job, we have to do training. So you get a lot of paperwork from all the trainings that you go through. And then I had like 2 folders, one from my last job, one from the job before that. I had 2 folders from Blue Cross Blue Shield, right? When you start a company, right? And they give you the employee benefit hand packets, right? So I had 2 folders from Blue Cross Blue Shield with stacks of paper in it, regarding the company's health benefits, right? So from Blue Cross Blue Shield, you get like a whole packet if you choose HMO, if you choose PPO, all the list of providers that are covered under that plan, all the services that are covered under the plan, the co-pays, the deductible. It's so much paperwork, right? And so I have stacks of papers, right? And neat stacks, like folders, neatly stacked folders, papers, whatever. And then I put it in a bag and wrap it up in a bag to keep it safe or clean or whatever. And then I stick it under a cabinet. So while I'm not working, like, I've been pulling out bags, just like shredding papers, dumping my house of all that old crap that I've accumulated over the years. Every now and then I do that. I don't like clutter. Maybe it's my OCD or whatever, but I have a lot of anxiety about cleanliness, neatness, and I don't know if it's like really OCD or learned behavior. Like I said, when we were little kids, right? Even though my mom was not mentally healthy, right? That woman was clean. And we didn't just got beatings, we got abused. Like, it was bad. So even as an adult, I tend to have a lot of anxiety around neatness and cleanliness. I know that I'm grown. I know that my mom does not live with me anymore. It doesn't have any more say in it, but I guess she beat it in me. I'm laughing, but It's not funny. Sometimes I try so hard not to be like my mom, and then sometimes I look at the stuff that I do, and I say, "Dang, I am definitely that woman's daughter." I am so much my mother. You try so hard not to be like them in so many ways, but then in so many ways you are like them. It's like, wow. So the coffee is because I'm tired, guys. I usually don't drink 3 cups of coffee in a day, and hopefully I won't drink that whole cup. But like I said, I almost didn't make it here. I was really tired. So like I said, when I was terminated from my job 2 weeks ago, the same day I got terminated, I had applied for unemployment. And then they sent me an email saying that I would get a phone call from adjudication on Monday, October 16th between, I think they said between like 12 and 4, right? Where I'm going with that, guys, is so I think they told me, yeah, between 12 and 4 today that I would get my call. And they even sent me a reminder, right? October 16th, yeah, between 12 and 4, right? So I made sure that I didn't make any plans for today. I made sure, like, I wasn't going to run any errands. I wasn't going to go out, because I was afraid, like, if I go out and I'm out in public and they call me. So I made sure that I stayed home between 12 and 4 and was available to take my call, right? You guys, tell me why I had my phone in my hand, right? The number comes up, right? I answer it and I'm like, hello? Hello? I don't know what happened, but they ended up leaving me a voicemail, right? And I'm like, how would they be able to leave me a voicemail? When the phone rang, I picked it up, I answered it. I'm like, I'm on the phone. I'm like, hello, hello. Like, I can hear space. Like, I knew somebody was there, but I couldn't hear them. And then it ended up going to voicemail. So they left me a voicemail, and I called them right back, right? They didn't answer. They left me a voicemail with the name of the person who was calling and a phone number for me to call them back, right? And I called them right back immediately. They didn't answer. I had to leave a message, right? So they haven't called me back. And this was like at, I think it was like 1:46. They called me. I answered the call. I was on the phone. I didn't hear them. I don't know what happened, right? I called them back by 1:48. We're talking 2 minutes. I had to listen to the voicemail, get the information, call them back. 2 minutes, I called them back. They didn't answer the phone. I left a message. I waited till like 3:40, right? And then I was like, I didn't really know what to do because I haven't had to be on unemployment for a long time. So yeah, I'm having some anxiety around it. Like, when I missed the call, I didn't miss the call. It ringed, I answered it, right? And I called them right back. And then I waited. They didn't call me back. So now I'm like, dang, do I call them back? Like, I don't want to blow up this lady's phone, right? So I was like, well, I'm just going to call back. Because sometimes when agencies call you, right, they'll tell you, please only leave one message, right? So I was like, I'm just going to call back and listen to see if she says, please don't leave more than one message, right? So I called back. It didn't say that, so I left another message. This was like 3:40, right? And I'm stressing. I'm like, these people, like, now I don't know. Like, do they call you back tomorrow? Do I call them back? Like, I don't know what's going on. So yeah, I'm a little anxious around that, right? Anyway, to keep myself busy in the house, right? You guys, I did yoga today, right? I've always worked out. and I've always done yoga, but I haven't been working out probably for the past 3, 4 months, maybe 5 months now. Um, so yeah, I did some yoga this morning, and if you guys follow me on my Facebook page, I did post it. And the reason why I posted it is because although I do yoga and I do other workouts, right? There was one particular one that I wanted to share with my followers. It was called Yoga for Anxiety and Panic Attacks. So I did that and I posted it to my Facebook page to share with my followers, right? Because I'm trying to, give people tips on how to alleviate some of the signs and symptoms of their mental health meds beyond medication. When it comes to mental health illnesses, right? Sometimes one medication is not enough. Some people end up having to take more than one medication, right? And for me, right, I didn't want to be on a lot of meds. They gave me one med. It seemed to work fine. Like I said, it doesn't take the symptoms all the way away. So the meds will bring you like from here to here, right? But you still may have some signs and symptoms. And some people, depending on the intensity of those signs and symptoms, will take a second med, or they'll like up their dosage of their med to try to, bring those symptoms down more. And for me, rather than take a second med, I try to do things beyond med to help bring them symptoms down a little more. Okay. And again, I told you guys, exercise. It's very good for if you have a mental health illness and you want to try to relieve some of the anxiety. It's so good to exercise because it boosts the endorphins. You start to feel better about yourself, especially if you have like some type of physical ailments that will kind of make you feel sad about yourself. So exercise is a great way to alleviate some of that. You're being physically fit, you're being mentally fit, right? And for people who struggle with their mental health illness, that tend to find it harder to get out of the house, to get out in public, right? Because sometimes you don't want to be seen, you don't want to deal with people. If you have a TV, if you have the internet, you can go on YouTube and pull up exercises. They have yoga, they have instructors on YouTube. That's for free. So I went on YouTube, I pulled up yoga, and I didn't even put it in. I just put in yoga, period. And the first thing that popped up was yoga for anxiety and panic attacks. And I thought, my God, you are so awesome, right? So yeah, I recorded myself doing that yoga, and I posted it to my Facebook to share with my followers to let them know, excuse me, guys, that there are on YouTube people guiding us, right, through the physical aspect of it, like doing yoga targeted for people who have anxiety and panic. And it was so good. It teaches you how to slow your breathing down. That type of yoga, it really focused on breathing, like calming you, getting you to be still. Some of us are very hyper sometimes. We find it hard to be still. We can't sit still. So yeah, it was so good, guys. So good. So I did that, right? And because I haven't worked out in a while, right? You guys, after I did that part, but then I had to turn the camera off to do my yoga, because 10-15 minute yoga focused on anxiety and panic attacks, focused on breathing, for me, it's not enough. Like, After I did that, I turned that camera off and did my yoga. And then after that, I made me a breakfast, right? You guys, after I ate my breakfast, I sat on this couch. First of all, I was stressing about my adjudication call, right? But I had to surrender and give it to God. Like, I did everything I could. You know, I was there. I picked up the call. I don't know what happened. I stressed about it for a minute. You know, I was going through changes, you know, my anxiety, my panic attack, because it's something that's very important to me, and very well needed, right? So yeah, I was going through it, and then, you know, I even felt tired and was like, I didn't want to fall asleep and miss that call. So I forced myself to stay up until I got my call. And then when I missed it, I went through some time of stressing about it. And then eventually I had to surrender and give it to my higher power. You know, I was like, I'm still tired. I already missed the call. I might as well go take my nap now. And I'm telling you guys, I knocked out and I slept good. And like I said, the past 2 weeks have been like just a roller coaster for me. Like, you know, highs and lows, stressing about being terminated from my position, staying busy, trying to stay positive, not freak out, reminding myself, like, you know, this is a part of life. It's going to be fine. You're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing. You know, sometimes you got to have them self-talks with yourself, you know. There was a time when I would let my anxiety take over and be like a hot mess, right? But I guess with age and experiences, right? Now it's just like, you know, I'll stress about it for a minute, but I know when I have to turn it over. I know how, from my own mental health well-being, you know, there's a point in me that I have to say, okay, Johnny, enough. Okay, Johnny, back up. Okay, Johnny, let go. You did everything you were supposed to do. You know, it's not like it's the end of the world, because sometimes my mind will go there, right? And I just sat on my couch and went out, right? So that's why I was like almost not going to do the show. I didn't wake up till 7. And even then I was fighting because I was tired. I was fighting. I had to make a third cup of coffee just to get, you know, here. I didn't like really do much with myself today because I was home all day. I was waiting for that call. The call didn't work out the way I had hoped it would. Like I said, I worked out. Maybe it was the exercise, guys. Maybe that's what I needed, because I've been, like, sometimes we can be so busy and hyper and active because there's something that's playing with us in the back of our minds, like me being terminated from my position after 5 years, right? Even though I'm okay with it, I'm well with it, but it's still in there. And we tend to like move according to, you know, because you may not even be conscious of what's going on in there. You could just be running off of it, right? But even though I was running off of it, I was doing healthy, constructive things, okay? It wasn't like harmful stuff, right? I've been staying busy. I've been staying active. Getting my house in order so when the time comes for me to go back to work, I won't have to worry about my house. It's all set, right? So yeah, that's what I've been doing. And I was talking to a friend of mine, right, today after I keep saying missed my adjudication call, but I really didn't miss it because I answered the call. So I was talking to my friend about it, right? And I was stressing about it over the phone with my friend, right? You guys, you know, I just lost my chain of thoughts. It just went right by me. I have no idea where I was going with that. I know it was something I was going to say about that. Oh my God, I hate when my brain does that. Yeah, so we probably gonna have to I don't want to stay stuck on that. We probably gonna have to move past that. I know there was something I was gonna say. Oh my god, I hate that. Anyway, guys. So yeah, I woke up at 7 and I was so tired and I really didn't want to get up, but it's like I had to fight myself to get up out of that sleepy pattern. And this is honestly the first day since I was terminated from my job that I was even able to take a nap during the day. I've been very busy, I've been very active, I've been staying positive, and if it wasn't for me expecting that adjudication call, I probably would have still been out there like running around doing stuff. Even when I'm tired, right? As long as I'm moving, I'm fine. It's the minute I sit still, I go right out. I go right out. Um, I know I'm just going on and on and on. I'm just trying to let you guys know where I'm at as far as my mental health aspect. Um, yeah, I worked out and I guess it did me some good because, ooh, I was sleeping. So anyway, I hope you guys are still writing on your assignment that was given to you guys. Again, if you find yourself nearing the end of your journey of your assignment, please, please, please leave me a comment, check in with me, so I can guide you on where we're going to go from that and how we're going to use the assignment I gave you to kind of connect where you are today. The causes, the effects, things like that. There's still so much more I want to tell you guys, but I want to go over some of this stuff. This is a course that I took online. There are things online that are for free that you can take courses in and get a certificate about mental health illnesses, signs, symptoms, causes, effects, how to manage mental health illnesses, how to manage the signs and symptoms that come with mental health illnesses. There's like a lot of resource information. So this particular program, this particular course that I took online is called Be There Certificate. It is a 2-hour course, and when you've completed the course, you will get a certificate. I felt like this was really important. I am going to jump around for a minute, guys, okay? So the song artist that I used today in the title of the song, Michael W. Smith, Waymaker, right? It was just like I said, when I had missed the call for adjudication, and then I started like obsessing about it and stressing about it and blah, 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 right? I have to remember sometimes, right? My higher power, right? He's going to make a way for me, right? And not that I'm struggling since I was terminated from my job. Like I said, I do have a lot of financial security in place. But why spend my money that I worked hard on saving over the years, right, when I don't have to? I mean, unemployment is an option for me. I haven't had to apply for unemployment in 7 years. Like, yeah, I want my unemployment money. Like, until I get ready to go back to work, even still, like, I haven't had the job hunt in 7 years. So now I have to like get resumes in order. There's like stuff I gotta do. So yeah, until I finish that process and actually find another job, I want my unemployment money. So anyway, so that's why I want to connect that song, Michael W. Smith, Waymaker, to what I was talking about. Like sometimes we get like in this place where there is fear, there is anxiety, there is panic, which can lead you to running off of that stuff. You start like running around off of that stuff, and um, hopefully you're not running around to places that are not safe or places that are harmful to you. If you are, caught up in some signs and symptoms of your mental health illness due to your circumstances or your environmental factors, right? Like I said, I clean my house. I shred paper while I'm sitting there on my couch watching TV. I'll grab a bag of papers that I let pile up, and I just sit there and shred them. It's a great stress reliever. You're being active in a positive way. You're being constructive. You're not being harmful to yourself. And then when you're done, like shredding all the paper, you feel great that you cleaned out a drawer in your house. How about that? And again, like, we got to be active in a healthy, constructive way to alleviate the signs and symptoms that you're not going to have any control over as far as your mental health illness, right? And it's part of being still and trusting your higher power, right? Like knowing that no matter what happens, your higher power is making a way, whether you see it or not, right? So that's why I wanted to play that song, just to remind us, like, no matter what happens, right? And instead of like getting caught up in the signs and symptoms that are going to happen, like, we need to remind ourselves that no matter what happens, our higher power loves us. He cares about us. He got you. Like, it's gonna be okay. Like, he's gonna make a way. Hopefully these people will call me back in the morning. If not, she did leave her name and number. I will call her back. If I have to go down there to the office, I'm sure there's still an office there, right? There has to be a building somewhere for people who are unemployment, right? Are on unemployment. So I may have to go down to the office and try to, get in touch with someone and let them know. Like, I was there. I picked up the call. I don't know what happened. I left this woman 2 messages. And it's going to be all right, because that had me going for a minute. And I was like, you know what, Johnny? We're not doing this. Yeah, sometimes you got to reason with yourself. I told you guys, sometimes you got to talk yourself down off that cliff, right? Like, we're not doing this. Anyway, guys, so moving on. Be There certificate. So there are 5 key factors, right? Trying to think of how they called it, because I wrote the factors down, but sorry guys, I have an itchy eye, my allergies. My God, I hate when that happens. Oh my God, it just, oh God, we are not doing this, Johnny. We're not doing this. So there are 5 key factors to, let me just first explain. I'm sure I have already, but the Be There certificate, right? It is a course that is going to give you information and tips on how to be there for a loved one, a friend, a parent, a sibling, a child. It's going to give you some information on how to support someone who is struggling with a mental health illness. So that is the purpose of the course, right? And then they have like 5 categories that they're going to talk about. Create a safe environment, be inclusive, be compassionate, be helpful, and be a good listener. Okay, so these are the 5 categories that they're going to walk you through, okay? So if you are with someone who seems to be struggling with some signs and symptoms of a mental health illness, right? You want to say to them, like, because you're gonna be like trying to give this person suggestions on things they could do to help them alleviate some of the signs and the symptoms that they may be experiencing due to their mental health illness. You might say to them, hey, do you want to go for a walk? You might say to them, hey, do you want to go to the movies? You're going to try to figure out, like, if you know this person and you know the things that they normally like to do, right? You're going to try to suggest some of those things because you're trying to support this person, right? But when you do that, right, you want to ask the person, like, you want to say to this person, like, you let me know if this works, and if it doesn't work, we can come up with something else. So you give suggestions of some type of activity that you can do together. But the one thing you don't ever want to do is to make them feel sick. Okay? So when you are communicating with this individual, right, you want to address them just like you normally would. You don't want to come at them like something's wrong with them, or, like I said, a lot of people with mental health illnesses, right, it's kind of hard for us to wrap our heads around the fact that we have a mental health illness, right? And for a lot of us, we don't want our mental health illness to label us. We don't want it to disable us. When we go through feelings, right, we're kind of embarrassed. We get embarrassed. So if somebody approaches you in the middle of a mental health situation, right, and they come at you and make you feel like something is wrong with you, right, it's going to, you just don't want to do that. You want to continue treating this person like you normally would, okay? And when you're giving them suggestions about what you can do together to try to get them out of that space, right? Don't just assume you know what that person needs. After you give them suggestions, make it clear to them that, you're trying to come up with some ideas, but if it doesn't work for them, they need to let you know, like, if this isn't working, then you start asking questions like, what would you like to do? So you don't want to assume you know what this person needs in that moment. You want to leave it up to them to tell you what they need, okay? Sometimes if a person is, in the middle of a mental health crisis per se, okay? When you're talking with that person, right, you don't want to try to force anything on them. You want to balance out the conversation, right? You're not just like talking at this person, right? When you're communicating with this person, you want it to be a balance, okay? You want to be able to communicate what you need to communicate to that person, but then you want to give them space and give them time to process what they're feeling so that they can begin to open up to you. So you want it to be a balance of talking and listening. You don't want to do all the talking. You want to open up that safe space to let them know, like, you're here, you're hearing them, make sure they know that they're being heard, right? Sometimes just sitting with that person physically can be all that person needs. Because sometimes some people, right, when they're in the middle of a mental health crisis, they don't always have the words. They don't always know like how to express themselves, or they could be in a moment where they feel so overwhelmed. Like I said, like we get recent thoughts, like, and sometimes we can't grasp the information. So sometimes it doesn't take a whole lot of talking, asking questions, trying to pull information out of them. Sometimes just sitting there with them, letting them know that they're not alone and that you're present with them. That's a good way to go about it, okay? Now, when you are dealing with someone that's in the middle of a mental health crisis, right? When you are trying to be there and be present, right? You might want to put away your phone because you don't want it to be a distraction. Like if you have an individual who's in the middle of a mental health crisis and you're trying to be there to support that person, right? You want to be present with that person. And if you're pulling out your phone and you're having conversations on your phone, or you're texting back and forth, that might be a sign that you're not really present with that person, okay? Part of connecting with that person is like, I wouldn't just assume it's okay to hug that person. Like, you might want to ask, can you give that person a hug? If the person refuses the hug, like, you might can put a hand on their shoulder, or if it's appropriate, like if it's your parent, or a child, or a sibling, like somebody close to you, a friend, if it's appropriate, you can just like hold their hand, like, just that way they can feel like, you want to, that touch, right? That personal touch. Sometimes we don't have the words, but by asking to give them a hug, or like just touching them can help alleviate some of the feelings that they're feeling. You do not want to rush the conversation. You want to prioritize that person. Show them that you have time. You don't want to rush the process. You don't want that person to feel like, they're holding you up, or that they're being a nuisance. You want to let them know that, you're going to be with them for whatever time that you need to be there. Keep it simple. Offer them a glass of water, a snack. Maybe they would want to just take a nap. Or just by you being there, right, with them, it might help them to feel like they're safe to relax, and that can help a lot too. You want to be able to offer practical help, like making dinner for them, offering someone a ride, or just going with them to run their errands. You want to, instead of assuming you know what they need, you might want to ask how you can help. Make sure the help that you offer is what the person really needs, okay? It is crucial that you ask what is needed. If they do not know what they need, offer some suggestions. This is practical, everyday support. You can probably assist that person in doing some research together to understand the aspect of getting help, like counseling, therapist, you know, to make the person feel more comfortable about accepting help or consider going to see a counselor or a therapist. Like, you can help them choose a therapist, because every therapist has like their own style of care and treatment. So maybe you can help that person like look into some therapist or counselor's backgrounds, their approach to treatment, and the values that they have. Help them organize their schedule, complete any paperwork, and keep track of appointments for them. Offer to go with them to their appointment. Help them prepare for the appointment, like write out the questions that this person may have for the therapist or the counselor, or things that they might want to talk about with the therapist. You can offer to meet up with them before the appointment, to blow off some steam, as far as like talking about whatever concerns they may have about seeing a therapist. Maybe they have some fear behind it. Maybe they have some biases. Maybe there's like some stigma that was like placed in them growing up in their communities about mental health illnesses and treatments and counselors and meds. So again, we're going to go over some signs of panic attacks. I told you guys from time to time, right, that we were going to touch in maybe once or twice a week, and we would go over the signs and symptoms, and it is part of this course that I took. They're doing the same thing, okay? So panic attacks can include shortness of breath, sweating, trembling, racing pulse, psychological symptoms would be extreme fear, a sense of being out of control, or feeling removed from the body. This process can last between 10 minutes up to 1 hour. That was really good information, because I didn't touch on that stuff, and I have experienced that. I have experienced like that sense of being out of control. I think I did talk about that in my beginning stages when I first started having signs and symptoms, and I would explode on my mate and then would feel guilty afterwards, and I would feel it coming. I knew exactly when it would happen, but for whatever reason, I didn't have control of it. I couldn't stop it, and I didn't even know why. So that was my stage where I was experiencing that sense of being out of control, the feeling removed from the body. That's a good one. I didn't even touch on that. So sometimes you can be experience something, right, and not either be aware or be in touch with it. But then when, that's why I said it's important to do your research, to read about your mental health illness, because sometimes they will give you the words that you didn't have. Like, you can make those connections. So if a person is in the middle of a mental health crisis, right, you might want to suggest that that person might want to go to a quiet place, like away from the noise, away from the distractions. That person, you might want to suggest that they either sit or lie down. You want to help that person to slow their breathing. Like you can like mimic the breathing for them, like take breaths with them, and telling them to match your pace of breathing. Like if they're breathing too fast, like when I panic, right, I tend to like breathe, you know what I mean? So you might want to help that person get control of their breathing. You want to listen without judging. You want to remain calm. Like this person may be in the middle of an anxiety or panic attack, and I know like sometimes, like I told you guys, when I would be with my mom, and that would happen to me, right? Mom would start crying, which made it worse for me. So you want to try to remain calm, right? It will help them if you explain to them, because maybe they're having an anxiety attack and they're probably new to it and they don't understand like what's going on with them. So it may help if you just explain to them that they might be having a panic attack. But and let them know, like reassure them that it's not life threatening and it will pass. You want to stay with them and reassure them until the symptoms pass or subside. You can follow up with them once they're feeling better. You can ask them if there was something you could have done to better support them. This is from the course that I took online. This is not my words, guys, okay? Mental health can lead to isolation. A person with a mental health illness that leads them to isolation may be having some symptoms of social anxiety, panic attacks, low energy, or being easily overwhelmed. This course also talked about stigmas, which I've always talked about in my sessions when I talk to you guys about my mental health illness state of mind, right? There are stigmas that mental health illness creates feelings of fear or embarrassment that affect how someone experiences life while struggling with their mental health. Being there for someone is about helping a fellow human, even if it changes up your regular routine. If somebody is like maybe long distance away from you, but you're in touch with this person either over the phone, this person is still in your life even though you're miles apart, right? You can send them like a care package. You can order them like a surprise pizza delivery. You can share pictures or videos to keep one another up to date on each other's lives. You could plan a trip to go see them or invite them to visit you. And if you can, you might want to help them connect to resources in the community around them from where they live. We're going to go over some tips about listening. You want to hear them out. You want to give them time to talk. Ask open-ended questions. Be patient. Make room for moments of silence. Ask advice. Share your experiences. Keep the conversation on them. If you don't know what to say, it's okay to just listen. Sometimes we don't have the words, right? When we try to fix the awkward silence or fix problems by offering advice, that's not really listening. Pay attention, make eye contact, put your phone away. Nod to show you're listening, but don't interrupt or cut them off. Paraphrase and summarize their thoughts back to them. Ask for clarity when you need it. Validate how they're feeling, or either say something like, "That sounds really hard. I can see how frustrating that would be." Use your body to show you're listening. Turn to face them. Lean in. Uncross your arms and relax. Balance the conversation. Listen. Ask questions. Open-ended questions. How are you feeling? What's on your mind? Ask follow-up questions based on what they say. Share wisely. Most of the time, it's not necessary or helpful to share your own experience or give advice. Remember, the conversation is about them, not you. The goal is to empathize with them, not fix them, to offer hope, not impose a solution. An exception to not giving advice is when someone needs a nudge to go get professional help. This could include connecting them to help, maybe through like a school counselor if they are school-age children. It could even be a family doctor. Remind them that they don't have to go through this alone. You are continuously checking. Sit and listen. Take it all in. Say hi. Ask questions. Validate how someone is feeling. Focus on letting the person talk. Don't make assumptions. Ask. Never cut off the questions. And this could also be done through like texting. You know, you're talking about a person who lives like distance away from you. Maybe you don't get to like see that person every day, but you guys stay in touch through phone. So that would work even with texting, okay? You want to show concern without being intrusive. Ask open-ended questions instead of prying for specific details. Don't try to figure everything out. It's to listen, learn, and ensure they feel heard. Don't push them away, but give them space. Now they're going to talk about how to keep the situation from escalating during the conversation. You want to focus on the things you can control, your own emotions and responses. If they get upset, you want to validate their emotions, pause, hang out, and just be there until they're ready to come back to you. Listen to them, show you care. But you also want to know your limits. If you find you're in too deep, connect them to help. Now we're going to talk about setting boundaries to keep you safe, okay? So if you are dealing with someone who has a mental illness, they have signs and symptoms related to that mental illness. They could possibly be in the middle of a mental health crisis, right? We need to keep you safe while you're trying to support this person. So, setting boundaries. You don't want to try to fix their problems. You don't want to preach to them. Be aware of biases in regards to how people instill their fears, their beliefs about mental health illnesses into other people. Like I said, depending on that neighborhood or that community that this person came out of, you want to be aware of any biases that they might be feeling inside when they're trying to address their mental health illness. You can mention other resources to them. Most importantly, don't judge, don't preach. Sometimes preaching can come off as dismissive. Don't downplay. This could imply that they are overacting. When setting boundaries, you want to maintain. Okay, let me say that again because I said that wrong. The purpose of setting boundaries is to maintain a healthy relationship with that person. Now we're going to go over some types of boundaries, okay? Your role. You're not their therapist. You're not their caregiver. You're not their personal assistant. You are their friend. Being there for them doesn't change that. When setting boundaries, part of setting boundaries is to protect your capacity. What that means is you only have so much time and energy and emotional bandwidth. You can't be this person's only support. To avoid burnout, help them connect with friends, family, and community resources. Part of setting boundaries is to keep you safe. You can set boundaries around anything you feel threatens your physical safety or mental health. In other words, topics you don't want to talk about, places you don't want to go, things you don't want to do, or even shows you don't want to watch. So when you're supporting someone through their mental health illness and you're trying to be there to support them, right? Maybe like you can suggest to this person that you guys like can watch a movie together. Like if this person is having signs and symptoms of depression or anxiety, they might be feeling sad, they might be crying. You don't want them to stay stuck in that space. So, when you're supporting them through that stuff and you're in their home with them, your friends, you're hanging out, like you can suggest like, hey, let's watch a movie together, right? But setting a boundary on what type of movie you want to watch, because again, you want to keep the friendship healthy. And by setting boundaries on the type of movies that you want to watch together, that you're open to watch with this person, like you have the right to set boundaries. There may be some movies that you may not want to watch for whatever reason. So now they're going to give us some tips on setting boundaries, okay? You want to be upfront. You want to communicate your limits and discuss boundaries early. You want to assume the best of them and talk to their best self. Remember that they care for you and want you to be healthy too. You may need to revisit the boundaries you set if you feel that you're drifting beyond whatever boundaries you put in place. You can also be open to change those boundaries depending on the circumstances, right? The circumstances might change, and so will your capacity to be there for someone. Maybe you have more time to give. Maybe you have less time to give. Don't be afraid to reassess your limits and communicate them with the individual. You want to keep on going. You want to continue to do things Hold on, I lost my place, guys. Oh God. So you want to... Oh my God, where did they go? I went the wrong way. Okay, let me back up. Show you care. Know your limits. Okay. Keep on keeping on. Continue to do things you'd usually do with this person. Don't let the relationship become all about support. Challenge and boundaries. Codependency. It's not okay. Hard to hear them. Refrain conversations. It may take a while. Listening. Renegotiation of boundaries. Broaden support systems. Know your role. You want to be in the right frame of mind if you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling impatient, if you're feeling annoyed, or you're just not in the right frame of mind to support someone at the moment. You want to pause, take a breath, step back, and think before you speak. Check in with yourself. What are the feelings really about? Are you frustrated with the person? Are you frustrated with yourself? Are you frustrated with the circumstances? Is this something in your control or beyond what you can influence? Set a boundary. Be honest. If you don't feel like you have the capacity to be there in a positive way in that moment, connect that individual to another friend or resource for now. Talk things through. Journal. Talk with a trusted friend or therapist. Or if it will be productive and not hurtful, speak to the people involved. Setting boundaries can help keep everyone in the right frame of mind, but sometimes things are out of your control and you just have to step back from the conversation. If it's not a crisis situation, explain what's in the way of having a good conversation. Remind them that you really do care and plan a time to pick up the conversation when everyone's up for it. There is no shame in looking after yourself. Early signs that you might begin to be triggered. Now, this is like if you have a mental health disease, right? And you're trying to support someone else through their mental health disease, right? So, checking in with yourself, right? Before you try to be there for someone else who may be in the middle of a mental health crisis, right? You want to be there for that person, but you also want to protect your own mental health, okay? Early signs that you might begin to be triggered. If you feel you're clenching your jaw, if you're sweating, you can't think clearly, emotions are normal. So when you're trying to support someone with a mental health illness through possibly some signs and symptoms related to the mental health illness, or somebody who's in the middle of a mental health crisis, right? I mean, it's a hard thing to see. You're in a tough place, right? You have to maintain your own mental health while you're trying to support someone through theirs, right? But you want to keep yourself safe, right? Most important thing. But when you're in the middle of trying to assist someone in a mental health crisis, right? Having emotions behind it is normal. Okay, it's not an easy thing. You don't know this person's mental health state of mind in that moment of crisis. You're trying to be there to support that person, but you need to keep yourself safe too. So if you find like you're having some type of emotions, just know that it's normal, okay? You're going to have emotions. However, if you start feeling yourself being triggered, right, you might want to take a step back, because when trying to help someone through their mental health crisis, right, you not only want to protect yourself, but you don't want to injure the person that you're trying to support. You guys, it is at that mark. We are going to shut this down. We can pick up again tomorrow. Tomorrow is the 17th. Yes, I'm just smiling at you guys. I'm tired. I'm about to go on with my evening. I haven't even ate dinner. I had breakfast after I did my workout and knocked out. I don't even really have an appetite, but we'll see what happens. All right, guys, have a great night. Thank you for coming back to visit me again and supporting me and allowing me to walk with you on your journey from mental health awareness to mental health wellness tied to education. Again, if you feel like this information may be useful to others, please share. If you believe that this is a service that could be useful to others, please hit subscribe. Let's get those numbers up. Thank you to all of my 42 subscribers. It was a really big jump from, I think I started out with 12 subscribers, and I'm up to 42. Yes, that means that people are being more in touch with mental health illnesses. The word is getting out there, right? Hopefully we end up with a large community of people that can love one another, support one another through our mental health illnesses, walk with each other, teach one another, love one another. Mental health illnesses doesn't have to be a bad thing, right? We work with what we were given, right? Bye, guys. See you tomorrow. Be well.